next speaker is Shelby Johnson, or Shelby J, as Prince dubbed her. She's a native of Greensboro, North Carolina. Shelby has toured and recorded globally with acts like Groove Theory, Mary J. Blige, Anthony Hamilton, D'Angelo and the Soultronics, Larry Graham, David Byrne, and for over a decade with Prince. As a member of the New Power generation, Shelby performed with Prince at the now historic Super Bowl halftime show of 2007, as well as the sold-out The Earth 21 Nights concert series in London's O2 Arena that same year. In 2012, Shelby and Prince co-wrote an ode to her home state entitled North Carolina. And performing is Shelby's life mission, using her voice to encourage people to shine and to reach their full God-given potential. And I wanted to say one more thing, which is that in June 2017, she was selected by iHeartRadio as their Artist of the Month, and then Shelby was selected again in August 2017, which is unprecedented. So really important for her. So for her music, you can check it out at soundcloud.com/ShelbyJMusic. Please, let's give it up for Shelby J.
Oh, wow. How are you guys doing today? That's good. That song kind of got me. It did. I just, you know, it's been 2 years, and it still is hard sometimes. And I had a really deep talk. Those of you that follow me on social media, you know I'm a North Carolinian through and through. I am a country girl, and I talk with my mother about every day. And I talk about her online and everything. And I was talking to her last night because my hometown got hit with tornadoes on Sunday night. And right now, my home city is really devastated. And they're hurting a lot right now. And I talked with my mom about it. And I said, I feel so disconnected. I want to be there. I want to be helping. And she's like, you're where you're supposed to be. And you're with people from all over the world that came to give love to your brother Prince, and you're going to get so much love from them. And she's going to be here Friday, so you guys can see Mama there. But I just want to thank you guys for, for showing up and just always loving Prince and loving his music and loving what he was about. And I told everybody, they said, what's the first thing you think of when you think about Prince? And I think about love. Now, I say that because love can be soft, love can be hard, love can be tough. And I wouldn't be honest if I were to talk about Prince and to say everything was always rainbows and Skittles and it was great and we always got along and he always agreed with me and I always agreed with him. That wouldn't be the truth. And the thing about it is when you have people in your life like that, 2006, I've been singing forever. I mean, with everyone, just singing and performing is what I love to do. So I feel like when I met Prince, I was prepared for that opportunity when it showed up for me. And I'm like, there's some reason that God put me in his life and put him in mine. And I'm just going to ride this wave until it, I told him, if you keep calling, I'm going to keep showing up, period, end of story. And, but he really taught me so much that I'm using now, not just musically, but just as an artist to know that this is my art. And it took me a long time to really understand what that means. Because when you have an artist like a Picasso or a Rembrandt or someone like that, they get their canvas, they have their paints, no one's standing over their shoulder telling them, oh, you need a little more yellow here, you need a little more orange over here. They're the artists. They create their art. They put their art out there, and it's a very vulnerable thing when you do that. Everybody might not like it. You know, he's like, Shelby, everybody didn't like my stuff when I put it out. I mean, songs that became super hits, and people are like, no, that song will never work. Like Kiss, I think was one of the ones he was saying. He's like, oh yeah, I don't know about that. You know, and it's just, that's one opinion, or maybe 2 or 3 opinions, but you have to stand with your art. And I hear him in my head, even as I create music, everything that I'm doing now, from rehearsing with the bands to honor him, to still having my own music, he's always right here in my head reminding me, do not second guess yourself. Do not listen to the noise that's out there, people trying to tell you, well, you should be more like this, or, you know, maybe, you know, have some hair or something, you know. It's like, no, just, and I sing that in my song, Who You Are. And that song was really, really inspired by what I learned from being in this man's band. And not just being in his band, but we would kick it. And that's a whole nother thing. When you work for somebody, a bank, UPS, whatever, a lot of times you don't kick it with your boss. You know, when you go, you don't go out and eat and go to the movies and talk, and you know, and we really kicked it. So I got to know him as a brother, Prince my brother, and he got to know me as Shelby, my sister. So when he would tell me things, it kind of felt like when your dad or someone like that, an older uncle, is giving you really good advice. And even though he's not here physically anymore, he is so here. I mean, he's here in spirit. And he's still guiding me with the decisions that I make. Even things that I choose to be involved in that bear his name, or that bear anything dealing with him. I pray on it. I listen to my heart. I listen to my spirit. And I'm like, all right, P, what should I, you know, is this the right thing for me to do? And it really helps to guide me, because I think, you know, what would Prince think about this? Like, how would he advise me if he were right here, right now, about this decision, about this business decision, about my music and everything he taught me about owning my masters and owning my publishing and letting no one, as he would say, you know, don't let them pimp you, girl. You know, that's real talk. You know, just really understanding the business of music, not just the show up and be sparkly and hold a microphone and you can't pay your bills, you know, but really understanding the business of music and knowing that it's important. It's as important to know all of that as it is to look good on stage or sound good on stage, because it's a whole picture. And you want to have that. We talked a lot about having 2 lives, and that's what I liked about him being in Minneapolis. I have 2 lives. I have what I call my sparkly life. My niece called me Hannah Montana when she was growing up. She's like, you're like Hannah Montana. Like, you have your show business life, and then, you know, 2 days from now, I'll be picking tomatoes in my garden, you know, and it's like a whole nother thing. But it makes me whole. It's like I have a whole life. It's not just singing and records and stage and sparkles and confetti and everything. There's some substance there when I'm not doing that. And that helps to feed my art. You know, that real life, that driving my mama to bingo, that, and I tell everything on Facebook, you know, I'm very honest. I have nothing to hide. I'm like so transparent. And, but that, he also taught me to be, you know, to be honest in that, because he would be riding his bike around. And I'm like, you riding your bike? Nobody's gonna bother you or anything like that. And he's like, you know, no, they protected him, they knew him, they loved him. Every once in a while you get the people that would, you know, kind of fan out and freak out, and he was always super cool with it. But he loved where he was from, and no matter where he would live, he'd always come back here. And for me, we had that in common, because no matter where I would travel, I always found my way back to North Carolina. And you know, we said a tree is strongest where its roots are. And it's a thing I think about Paisley being here and being, I mean, he could have built that place anywhere. He could have, you know, decided I'm gonna move to wherever, you know, and have a complex and just be completely disconnected from his home and his upbringing. But you know, he would take us around on rides, and I got to see Lake Minnetonka, and I got to see all of these beautiful lakes and the trees and everything that fed his artistry, like my country life feeds my artistry. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I like that. He's like, you're home, and you know, you're connected to that. And I could really relate to why he stayed here, because people ask me that. They're like, why do you think he stayed in Minnesota? He said it kept the bad people out. He said the cold kept the bad people out. So, you know, but it's just, you know, it definitely fed, she's like, I don't know, it definitely fed his art. It definitely fed his art, and it kept him connected to his roots. He's a Midwest boy, you know, and he felt that. So I just want to thank you guys for allowing me the space in your hearts to share with you, allowing me to share my stories, allowing me to share my music. Everything I learned from him, he poured so much into me. It would be the hugest disservice to not talk about that and to try to inspire others, because he's like, that's what we have to do. That's our job. That's why I've got these 11 new horn players, and I know I picked half of them right out of college, but he goes, who else is going to hire a band with 11 or 12 horn players? You know, nobody's going to do that. And he thought about that, the generations coming behind, and making sure he poured into us. So I'm thankful for that. So now, even though physically he's not here anymore, we're left with his music, his roadmap in those lyrics, you know, and all of the musicians that he touched, that we can continue that legacy of artistry and love for one another, and real music by real musicians, and real singers that sing on real mics, not karaoke, you know, real stuff, you know. So yes, you can clap for that, girl. You can clap for that. I'm so tired of these imposters. Okay, y'all know how to do it. But just thank you for all the love, and I'm really looking forward to this week. And like I said, with everything I started talking about with the tornado, I woke up and I was feeling sad, and I got online and I was looking at all the love, and I'm looking at people in airports coming, they've got their purple, and it was inspiring me. And I was like, we're gonna have a week full of love, full of light, PVO, positive vibes. Positive vibes only. That's what's up. So I'm Shelby J. Thank you for having me. I hope I didn't talk too long. And yeah, I guess 3 more minutes. Oh no, I can juggle. Thank you guys. Thank you. And thank you for loving me.
Thank you, Shelby. That was great.